they've been super appreciative in terms of the effort that they give me, the way they go out there and practice, and their growth mindset that they have. And we kind of just talked about that this morning as well. Just having a growth mindset. We all do, like me included. And so hopefully they understand that it goes both ways with that, and I'm trying to do my best with that too.
In terms of inheriting a room that guys that you didn't recruit,
Yep.
is it difficult to build those relationships in such a short amount of time?
It is. It is, and it's not. And I think it's about intention, right? And so I think both parties are being intentional about having those relationships. The group was freaking strong, right? Like they're all together. Like when you see them, most of the time they're always all together in some group, form, or fashion. And so it's just trying to build on that, right? And how can I come in there and add to it and be a part of it, more importantly, and just finding my way, right? And that just takes time. It's a two-way street. So, like I said, those guys have been open arms in that regard, and it's been cool that they've kind of brought me in that way too.
Tyler Cashman,
Nice to meet you, Tyler.
just nice to meet you. How would you describe just your coaching style and kind of what you want to do to your players?
Man, I think when I think about myself, right, I think about somebody that's demanding, that tries to hold the guys accountable, right? And we set a standard from day one. Part of it was me initially setting the standard, but it was more of a group effort of what we want to be and how we want to establish ourselves, right? And so I think that when you think about that, for me, it's all about people, right? And the more we can be good people and eliminate a bunch of distractions off the field, things like that, I think that's kind of where we're going, right? And it's a part of the developmental process, right? It's not just the person, it's more the people. And the more I keep developing people, the better football players we'll have. And so accountability, right, demanding, and then just developing from a holistic approach is kind of how I describe myself in a nutshell.
Along those lines, kind of what's your why for coaching?
Great. When you think about why, like I go back to one of the questions I was asked in the interview process was, who are some of the people that have influenced you? And I think about back to my high school days, and it's amazing that, I had two great people, one of them who I call Uncle Steve, and then the other guy was Coach Shag, and both of those guys were old school, super old school, demanding as crap. I tell people all the time, the hardest stuff I did was in high school. Like that's how those guys were, and it prepared me for life. Like, talk about waking up in the morning early, getting up, having to go do this and having to go do that. And so when you talk about the why part of it, it starts with that. And then as you start to develop it, like I don't have kids, but I kind of see them as like nephews, little big brothers, you know what I mean? And just making sure that these guys, when they come here, their parents already established a foundation. My job is to put another level on that. And so now when we take that, we've got a person that's ready to go out there and go kill everything and be successful in everything that they do, from sports to football to being a parent to being a husband. And so that's my why. Like that's the beauty about this deal. And that's why I love the college game. You know what I mean? You get to truly do that from the ground up. So.
Did you have any connections to the staff at Iowa? Why you landed at Iowa, or?
Man, I was blessed.
Yeah.
I was fortunate. You had some right timing, right pieces. I think things happen for a reason. You talk about New England, that situation not working out. But from a New England standpoint, that me doing that and getting with those guys, and it was great people that I worked with there, but having that experience got me to the Senior Bowl, right? And I think that when you get to the Senior Bowl, now I'm working with Brian Ferentz, right? And so now that's an initial in. I have no connection with anybody at Iowa, right? So I'm like, there's no chance this is gonna work out. And you start to peel back the layers, right? You peel them back, and all of a sudden, this person knows this person knows that person. Oh shoot, this person knows that person. And so it just became that level, right? And now you talk about Tim, like working with a lot of like-minded people and being around people that can vouch for you that way, I think that made that connection easy, and then you talk about the piece of just being able to not necessarily we can talk the same language, right? Initially, so we might have a different dialect of how we're saying it, but we're talking the same language. So I think that made that whole process easier.
Omar, I mean, Jazzy and Patterson,
Yeah.
guy probably hits the hole out of the backfield
Yeah.
hard as anybody.
Yeah.
I guess for him, what's kind of his next step in his development? What have you seen from him early, and how do you kind of teach him maybe to wait that additional half second to kind of wait for a doll to open up? I guess how do you kind of approach that without losing that aggressiveness that he has?
And it's funny because I tell the guys to be them, right? That's a superpower, and you got to play to your superpower, right? And we just try and enhance that, and so we do a bunch of different drills to try and slow them down a little bit, and that's all of them, right? Not just Jazz, it's all of them, because the more that we can slow down and let things develop, the better the play is going to be. And so it's just about how can I get my process under control before the snap is happening to the point where I can take a deep breath and then I'm just going to go play free. And so that's part of it, right? And just giving them all the little tips and tools. And it starts with our footwork all the time. And then it starts with our eyes after that and making sure they're in the right place. And so it's trying to slow those guys down, but it starts in practice. It actually starts in the meeting room. That's where it really starts. Trying to build their eyes and build the confidence up that way to where they go out there and it's just second nature like it's always been.
Well, Mark, Chubb, that's a good one.
That's crazy, right? And you said getting healthy, and that's what we got to do, and that's part of the process. And what I like about Brevin is Brevin comes every day and he's ready to work in the classroom. He knows right now that's where he has to do most of his development, right? And trying to get him to understand that he's itching at the bit. Every piece he wants to try and get out there as fast as he can, but we want him to be healthy, and we want him to make sure he can stay out there for a long period of time. And if we can do that, we can see that here on a consistent basis. You get what I'm saying? And so summer's going to be really good for him. It's going to be really good to get him out there, to get him some consistency, to give him some reps underneath his belt. Because I think the guys that have been here have done that, and they've got a ton of them. And so he's somewhat behind the eight ball, but he'll be fine. He'll be just fine. He'll get more than enough reps. Ready to see it.
What's your vision regarding playing time? Like Liddell, what he often would do was ride the hot hand.
Yeah.
Like Caleb's playing well, Caleb's getting well, Jazz is playing well. I guess what's your vision there?
I mean, I don't think it should be any different. You know what I mean? From that regard, like you don't want to disrupt rhythm, right? Like offense is about rhythm. Defensive guys can get out there and go play with effort, and it's like whatever. 10 people could be doing something wrong, and one person does the right thing, and they make a damn play, and it's a tackle for loss. Whereas we all got to be on the same wavelength. Like we can't have a guy having one mistake, it turns into a big mistake for all of us. And so, just trying to make sure we don't disrupt that rhythm, right, and keep those guys going. And I think the way we practice and the way that the backs practice specifically will help anybody when their time comes be ready for whatever they need to be ready for.